Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happens every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Danielle. Welcome to the first Women's Sports Weekly, a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports.
We really do love women's sports, and I think it would be helpful to talk a little bit more about why we even thought about doing this podcast. So, Danielle, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why we even decided to jump in here?
Where do I even begin? So as a young kid, I know it's cliche, but I feel like I grew up in the gym because my dad has been playing basketball since a young age himself and continues to play to this day. So as a young kid, I loved going to his games and the men's leagues he would play in, and he would also ref on the weekends. So I just remember driving all over New Jersey with him. Didn't matter where it was. I was ready to go watch the game and just loved watching and being part of that environment. And also as a kid, my dad just threw me into all sports at a young age to try different things and see what I liked. The three sports I stuck with throughout high school were basketball, soccer, and softball. Back in middle school, I really begged my parents to play football because I had a hell of an arm and could have been a great quarterback, but I still give them crap for it, but they wouldn't let me do it. And
You would have been a great quarterback.
I could have been a trendsetter. Look at all the girls playing now. They just wouldn't do it. But yeah, and outside of playing in high school too, I just really have to acknowledge my obsession with Tennessee and Pat Summitt back in the day, and Candace Parker, shout out. My whole room, my dad one weekend, I told him I wanted to paint my room Tennessee Vol colors, and he said sure. So we went out and got orange and light blue paint, and I was just obsessed. So I was the weird kid who sent Candace Parker a Facebook message. I never got an answer, but to this day I look back at that message and just wish she answered me.
Maybe one time in this podcast we can dive in deeper into what that message said.
Maybe. But yeah, my dad was always supportive. He was into women's basketball, and we would watch games together. And then, like I said, I played the three sports in high school, and basketball was always my favorite. And I played basketball in college as well. Small Division III school, Moravian College. Had a great 4 years there. Really, really enjoyed my time in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania as a Greyhound, and really just happy for the opportunity to play in college. And I even went back. I coached for 3 years while getting my master's, so I even have some coaching experience under my belt. But really just love the game, love all sports, women's sports especially, and just want to advocate as much as I can because, as you know, we always want them to get the most coverage. And while we've seen big strides in the past couple of years, I think there's still a lot of room for improvement. So hopefully we can bring more light to that.
Yeah, for sure. And I kind of have a similar background to you, but I am the youngest of three. So I have an older brother and sister who were really into sports and a dad who was very into sports as well. My brother and sister both ended up going to college to play football and softball respectively. But growing up, I played soccer, basketball, and softball. Basketball was definitely my favorite, but softball I was probably best at. And then I went to University of South Carolina without a plan to play any sports. I was pretty burnt out and done, but then I missed it too much. So I walked onto the team, got on it, and played for a couple of years. I never actually got into a game, but it was really great. I met some of my best friends playing softball, and just being part of that environment taught me so many things. And I hope we can dive in a little bit deeper into like what college sports has taught us and how it's messed us up maybe in a couple ways too. And so now you run a lot. I think you have 6 marathons under your belt.
Yes.
Amazing. And I like to do CrossFit. I teach yoga, and we both play softball in our league where we live here in Denver. And it's been great, but we always talk about women's sports. We're always talking about what could be better, especially in coverage wise, equal pay, things like that. And we get into some deep conversations, and we're not always on the same page. And that's why we thought maybe bringing this to a podcast would be great for people to listen to. So yeah, that's why we're here today. And we really hope that you enjoy. We hope that you follow us on social media at Women's Sports Weekly Pod and send us your questions, your comments. We want to get to know you. So from here, let's get into the highlight reel where we share the latest news. Okay, into the highlight reel for the week. Danielle, what have you liked seeing this week in women's sports?
I'm going to stick with basketball this week because there's two big stories I wanted to point out and I thought were really exciting. First, Stanford women's basketball coach Tara VanDerveer just tied Coach K for the most wins in NCAA history. She currently has 1,202 wins. Her overall record currently is 1,202 wins to 267 losses.
That's just unreal.
Unbelievable. I mean, I have been saying it for years, and Carolyn, you can attest to this. I don't think Tara gets enough coverage. You always hear about coaches like Gino, which I understand he deserves the respect as well. But Tara, come on, just tied Coach K. It's really, really unbelievable. We actually got to see Stanford this past week play at CU Boulder, Buffs, and it would have been great to see history being made and Tara winning to see that tying win. But I have to say, I'm glad it didn't happen against the Buffs. So go Tara, big fan, have been over the years. And can I just let you tell you that she's also 70 years old? I mean, Jalen Sherrod bumped into her in the game, and the poor woman. I mean, Jalen felt horrible too. And poor Tara, she took it like a champ, but I don't think she was well for a second. Like, what do you think?
I mean, she looks so good for that age, and to see everything she's accomplished, and for her to be like, I don't even know if a lot of people would know her name, and for her to put past Coach K, like, who everyone knows. It's just really cool and well deserved. I mean, what she does with Stanford, what she does with those girls year in and year out, they're always a top contender, a top team, and it's a lot to do with her.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So huge shout out to Tara. Congratulations. Really, really exciting to see that. And the other top story, Caitlin Clark now sits fourth overall on the all-time scorers list in the NCAA. She just passed Brittany Griner and now has over 3,300 points in her college career. It's pretty amazing. You think about a lot of high school players strive for 1,000 points in their career, and you're more than tripling that. It's unbelievable. And currently ahead of her sits Kelsey Plum, Kelsey Mitchell, and Jackie Stiles. So congrats, Caitlin Clark, a truly incredible player, and we'll see if she can surpass a few more players on that list this year.
Yeah, I wonder if she stays the extra year just to get those
I mean, there's a lot of games left this season. She can get those points this year and go to the WNBA, I guess. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see if she declares for the draft. We'll have to go into that a little bit more in a future episode.
Yes.
For me this week, I'm going to jump into the tennis realm, the Australian Open, and talk about 16-year-old Mirra Andreeva. Andreeva won her first 3 rounds of the Australian Open as of today. And notably, she beat 6th ranked Ons Jabeur. We love Ons Jabeur. She's awesome. And in the 3rd round, Mirra was down 5-1 in the 3rd set. And she came back and won it all to beat Diane Parry, or as the French say, Dion Parry. But Mirra is just amazing. She is 16 years old. She's got like this curly hair, which you know I love, a fellow curly haired gal. And after her match with Ons Jabeur, she had her post-game interview and she was talking about her maturity from a 15-year-old to a 16-year-old and how much she's changed in 1 year. And honestly, everyone was laughing, but these tennis players have to grow up so fast. They come onto the world stage when they're so young, and her ability to adapt, her ability to be resilient, I mean, to come down in a 3rd set and to come back and win it, it's just so cool to see someone so young do that. There's a lot more tennis this week. I'm especially keeping my eye on Coco Gauff, the American. Her mental game is just so strong. I love to see what players are wearing, and she's in this all yellow outfit. She looks amazing, and her motto this week, or going into the Australian Open, has been look good, feel good, and she is just doing both. So I'm really excited for her season this year, and maybe even to see her proceed on in this Australian Open. So let's do our little deep dive. We're going to go into a particular story of the week in our scouting reports. As we head into our scouting report this week, we are going to talk about the CU Buffs. So Danielle, take it away.
All right. Well, CU Buffs, SCO Buffs, they are 16-2 overall so far this year and 6-1 in the Pac-12 conference. We've been lucky enough to see 4 of those games, which has been really exciting. And just some background on the Buffs in prior years. The past 2 years, they've been really doing well. They've been in the NCAA tournament the past 2 years. They lost in the Sweet 16 last year to Iowa, who we all know went to the final against LSU. So if you're going to lose to a team, that's a good team to lose to last year. And the last Sweet 16 appearance before last year was in 2003.
Oh my gosh. That is a long time. Was Kate Fagan on the team at that time?
She was. She was on the team in 2002 and 2003. And 2002, they actually went to the Elite Eight. So she was on the team both those years. Remember when we met Kate Fagan?
Yes, I do. Was it at the Final Four?
Yes. So Carolyn and I went to the women's Final Four. The first one we went to was Columbus, Ohio. And remember, she was talking about her book, What Made Maddie Run?
Oh, that is such a good book.
Yeah. And we were walking around the conference center during the day, and we saw her and we got a picture with her.
Yeah, she was super nice, which is always a good thing to meet someone you like and look up to. And she does she did sports broadcasting, but now I think she's primarily a writer.
One more quick story about the sports broadcasting. On the one show she does Villain of the Week. And Moravian, where I went to college, very small Division III school, our mascot, the president brings his 2 greyhounds to the basketball games, and the mascot took out a player on another team.
I remember that.
And Kate Fagan was talking about it on her show, and the dog was the villain of the week. So just have to point that out too. But anyways, getting off track here.
Yeah, let's talk about J.R. Payne and what she's done with the Buffs, the head coach for CU.
Yes, J.R. Payne took over the program 8 years ago. So she's in her 8th season. And it's just pretty clear to me that she has a huge impact on the women on the team. And just the past 3 years that we've been going to games since living here, just seeing her interact with the girls, I would say is pretty evident that they like her and she does a good job with the team. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel the same way. And the CU team is so easy to love, these women. And I know that we're both trying to say women rather than girls. And it's just our natural thing to say girls, but we never say boys basketball when we're talking about college basketball. So we're learning as we go here. It is very clear that she loves the women that play for her. And it's very clear that the women who play for her love her. What I really love about JR is her husband is an assistant coach and they have kids together. And I didn't even know that until recently. Mm-hmm. And I just love that she kept her last name of Payne, because Payne is a great last name for a head coach. Payne. It's really, really cool. And we actually met her as well recently. You want to tell that story?
Sure. So Carolyn found out that the WNBA commissioner was coming to town this past summer because when they were looking to expand the league, Denver just showed up on the map. And Carolyn, you could take it from here because I don't want to take any of your credit.
I just love to send cold emails. And so I heard commissioner was coming and I just started sending some cold emails to the people who were supposed to be hosting her, the potential investors into the team. And we got invited to this happy hour in like this really bougie spot in Denver. We took a couple friends with us and it was like the who's who of women's basketball in the Denver area. And J.R. Payne was there. We got to speak to her. She was so cool, so down to earth.
So nice.
She was like telling us that to come say hi to her when we went to a game, and we haven't.
No, we don't want to be those girls, but we should one of these games.
Yeah, she was great. It was a really great opportunity to get to do that. And unfortunately, Denver didn't get a WNBA team, but we're still holding out some hope.
Fingers crossed. Yes. I just felt that she was very genuine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vibe I got.
For sure. And she's been doing great things. And I want to go into the players a little bit who play for CU. And we are new fans to CU. We moved to Denver 5.5 years ago now and quickly fell in love with the CU team. And they have some players who are just, again, so easy to love. So first player on my list is Jalen Sherrod,
Yes.
the guard for CU. She is this little tiny firecracker. She hustles. She does everything you would want a player to do. She's so composed. To see where she's come from, even in the past 3 years, to where she is now is amazing. What do you think?
I agree. Super confident. I love her game. I love how she handles herself on the court. So quick. I mean, it is just incredible, the quickness. All these girls at the D1 level, it's really just amazing to see, but especially Jalen. She just fires down the court. Great ball handler, great passer, and I think she just really fires up the team, especially when she gets going.
And she's so swaggy, which I also love.
Yes, and it's clear that the women on the team get along really well together too.
And I think another player who's so instrumental to them is Frida Foreman, another guard from Denmark, a redhead, which is my weakness. As you know, I love a redhead. And throws up threes like no other. And when she gets going and when she gets moving, I mean, a 3-pointer is exactly that. It's 3 points. It's 1.5 times more than what you get with a standard layup or a standard shot. And if that can work for a team, and if they can get Frida going on that, it's so impactful for them.
Yeah. She has been having a little bit of an off year, I will say, compared to previous years, but I love the three. You know that. That was my shot in college. So I definitely like her game as well. And hopefully she starts to hit some more of those throughout the season. But the next player I wanted to talk about, the center, Aranette Von Lay. She's just been really fun to watch. And we were at the game on Friday night, and she just had some little hook shots over Lauren Betts
on UCLA.
It was really, really cool to see, yes, against UCLA. And she is just so strong with the ball. It's really incredible. And I really like her game. And she has a really good shot and can shoot from the elbow as well. So she's another good player that I like to watch on that team.
And I watch her and I'm like, I need to know how much she deadlifts. Like, how much weight can she throw around? She is so strong. When we watched her 3 years ago, her growth from then to now, she is completely different and a real threat on the floor. A real threat. Speaking of another real threat, Quay Miller. She has been playing amazing,
especially today.
Yeah, her footwork, her 3-point shot, what she's able to do under the basket, she's super dynamic and just really fun to watch.
Yes. Did she have a double-double today?
She did have a double-double.
I think she's
today.
had a few.
A double-double today against University of Southern California, the wrong USC, as I like to say.
Yes. But she's a real fun player to watch, and she also gets the crowd going when she hits. She had a few nice threes back to back and really got people going today, which was fun. Just thinking, as we think about more players, Kendall Weta coming off the bench, such a good defender.
So good. She I know we'll talk about this a little bit more, but she really shut down Juju Watkins as much as you can, and I can't wait to talk about Juju Watkins, but she did a great job with her. And another guard who does really well for the CU is that graduate transfer, Maddie Nolan.
Yes.
Another 3-point shooter. She hasn't really found, in the past couple games we watched, she wasn't contributing too much, but also another fun person to watch. And again, just so easy to love, this whole entire team. They work so hard.
Yes. Another big Charlotte Whittaker. Sometimes gets into foul trouble, which hate to see it. She really just throws her body out there and puts herself on the line, and you need a player like that. So she
spends most of her time on the ground.
Yes. The past couple of games that we've been to, she has been on the floor a lot, but she definitely, you could tell she's passionate about the game and contributes to the team overall. I mean, all these players are great players, and I think they're just more of a overall, the way they are as a team. Yes, you have your standout players, but when you think about some of the other good teams, I would say Jalen is their best player, right?
Yep.
but it's amazing how well the team just plays together.
Definitely.
No one's a chalk. I just really like the way they play, and we'll see where they go in the rankings after this week after losing to UCLA, but I hope they go far. They make a run in the tournament.
Yeah, it would be so fun. It would be so fun to watch.
We'll be their number one fans. Maybe not number one.
Not number
we'll
one. If South Carolina's there, I won't be their number one fan, but I definitely will be rooting for them until they play South Carolina.
All right.
Let's dive in a little bit to the UCLA games, the CU-UCLA game that happened over the weekend. UCLA ended up winning the game 76-68. However, it was a sellout crowd with over 11,000 people at the CU Event Center. So amazing.
First time that they sold out since March 1995.
1995. How old were you in 1995?
3.
Wow. 3.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And Lauren Betts plays for UCLA 6'7" center from Colorado, was on Stanford and transferred to UCLA. She got a lot of boos, which I understand from the Colorado fans for deciding not to.
I'm mad she's not at CU Boulder.
I'm very mad too, because CU would be great with her. And she started off a little bit slow and then ended up with double herself, I believe, and 20 points.
Yeah, 6'7", hard to guard.
The other thing we need to talk about that game is Miss Peggy.
Oh, Peggy. So if you're not that familiar with CU Boulder, you wouldn't know Peggy, but I know we're not talking about men's sports, but she, I think, was started to become a national sensation during the football season, because with Deion Sanders here, the Buffs had quite a season in football. That's the first time I saw Peggy, at least, was on TV for the football games. And for those of you who don't know Peggy, 99 years old. Talk about a number one fan for CU Boulder.
She's so cute.
Yes.
She's always in her CU gear. She's got these little glasses, her pom-poms. She wears a visor sometimes, and I think she wears the visor sometimes so she can like take a little nap during the games.
She might be taking a nap here and there.
But she deserves it.
She's been going to games for decades.
So she received the game ball for the UCLA game, and she was in tears.
Yes.
And so then naturally I was in tears because I am quick to cry. I think that was like my third cry that day. Yes. To see the amount of fans who were there, to see what I affectionately like to call the oldies, like so many older people at the game, 65 and older, who are just so into it, wearing their 1, 2, 3 shirts whenever there's a 3 for CU. It makes me cry, because to see the game grow in the way it has, and for so many, especially of these older women who probably played sports when they were younger, never got any attention for it. It must be so cool to go to a game now and see an event center sold out.
For sure. And the games we've been seeing on TV too, the announcers will say this game sold out, that game sold out. If you live in an area that you're close enough to a college that you can go see one of these teams play, I highly recommend it. It is fun watching them on TV, but the atmosphere in the arena, I mean, it's like nothing else. And to see these women's games get as many fans, and to your point, of all ages, you see families, you see older fans, you see younger fans. It's just men, women, everyone. It's just amazing, all inclusive to see and be in that environment.
And unfortunately, a lot of times you have to go to the games because they're not broadcasted. We need to talk about this a little bit more. A lot of the Pac-12 games have been on the Pac-12 network, which is really difficult to access. They have this app that they want you to download, and then they want you to cast from the app to your TV, which
and you need to pay extra for it.
Yeah, which can be super glitchy, and then you have to pay extra to be on it. And we're talking about not only top 25 teams, we're talking about top 10 teams, top 5 teams who are playing.
3 games we've been to for the Buffs, it was top 10 game, and none of them have been televised.
I think that is just ridiculous.
Yep.
I mean, we want people to be watching women's sports. I hear all the time from men who don't know what they're talking about. Well, no one watches it when it's on. And time again, we've seen that when women's sports is shown on national TV, people check in.
Yep.
And then you have these great games going on, and only people with Pac-12 network can watch it. And I'm sorry, we have other games going on ESPN that are women's games, but it's a ranked team versus an unranked team. And it's not as good as a game. Some of them are, but some aren't. So why aren't we putting the good games on national TV?
And we should still, to that point, be able to see the ranked team versus the non-ranked team.
For sure.
And make sure we're seeing a top 10 game. It's ridiculous. All those games should be aired. And you just brought up a point. I spoke to my dad today, and he's a huge UConn fan. He was actually at the game yesterday. He also said it was a great environment. But today, he had games on, and he was confused because he said when he flipped on the TV guide, it said 2023 women tournament game. So he had the game on, and he was like, why are they replaying a game from last year's tournament? So he turned it off, and Iowa lost to Ohio State in overtime, and he turned it off early because he was like, why are they replaying a game from the tournament last year? And he went back to the guide. All the games that were on today, he said,
were labeled 2023
yes.
women's
tournament. So that's
tournament.
Another issue. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
That should not happen. I don't understand why it's happening. But back to your point, that was just another frustrating thing that I heard today. But why aren't more games televised? Like, why isn't the Pac-12 getting the attention they deserve? CU Boulder, though, these girls are amazing to watch. They deserve to be nationally recognized,
Definitely.
to be on the big stage. And honestly, it's just a shame that other people don't get to see what we're seeing when we go to those games.
That's exactly right. And I think we need to also talk about the game CU played against University of Southern California, USC.
Great game.
It was a great game. CU pulled out and ended up winning 63-59. As we said before, Quay Miller from CU had a double-double. She just was so good today. And we have to talk about Juju Watkins.
We have to. So Juju Watkins, I admittedly have not seen her play before today. I just haven't seen Southern California play on the TV before. But I knew she was a top freshman in the country. Before the game, I looked up her scoring stats, 26.5 points per game. I mean,
crazy.
She is a freshman.
A true freshman.
6'2" guard. For me, when I go into games I haven't seen someone, I'm like, okay, let's see how they actually play.
Yeah.
Because realistically, you don't know sometimes if they're not playing great teams. Like I said, I haven't seen her play yet. Wow.
She put on a show.
She is unbelievable.
So she is definitely the real deal. The way she explodes to the basket, her footwork is just amazing.
The speed, the change of speed going to the basket, the smoothest just hesitation, it's incredible to watch.
Yeah, and the way she's able to get shots off, I'm like, how did she get
quick.
That shot off? And most of them were falling, and the ones that weren't were very, very close. And again, all credit should go to Kendall Wetta, because she really did her best. And Juju Watkins had 20 points, and she scored those 20 points in 27 minutes because she ended up fouling out of the game.
Trouble. I felt bad when she fouled out. I have to say, she was running up the court hard, and great play by Jalen Sherrod. I mean, really great play. Juju was looking behind her. Jalen stood her ground just over half court, and Juju mowed into her, not realizing it, and got the offensive foul called. So it was upsetting to see because you don't want to see the best player go out. Like, you want that game to be played through. But 20 points in 27 minutes. True freshman. She's really something to watch.
For sure. And CU is a great team to watch. We watched them lose to UCLA over the weekend. We watched them win today to USC. They bring the energy every time. They're so much fun. And we wanted to share it with you because if you can't watch them on the Pac-12 network, you need to find a way to go see them. And hopefully they go far in the NCAA tournament and people can really see what they bring to the table.
And how can we forget? I mean, they beat LSU the first game of the season. LSU won the national championship last year. So that also, if that doesn't tell you something, like, they deserve to be on TV more and deserve the recognition that I don't think they're getting. Yes, they're number 3 in the country right now, but people need to be able to see what they're doing.
And I stand behind the SEC conference all the time. I think it's such a difficult league, so fun to be in. The Pac-12 is stacked this year. There's no denying it.
They are unbelievable this year. Highly recommend seeing some games if you can.
So that's it.
Yeah, I think that rounds out our episode for this week and our scouting report on CU Boulder, SCO Buffs. Like I
SCO
said,
Buffs.
if you have the chance to see them, highly recommend. And we'll definitely be in the stands at future games. So hopefully they, like I said, make a run in the tournament this year.
It'd be great. Our first podcast is complete. In the coming weeks, we'll continue to cover the latest news and dive into the stories we care about. In the meantime, watch women's sports anywhere you can find it. Send us a message on Instagram for anything you want us to discuss at Women's Sports Weekly Pod. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.